Thanks, Alexis. Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started just like usual. So seated or standing, just think of elongating through that spine, and we're going to chin tuck for 10. Let's get ready and begin. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's keep that length. We'll do our head turns, 5 per side. We're going to turn back to center, turn to the other side, center, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're going to do 4 exercises for a brief warm-up. They're only going to be 30 seconds each. And then today we're going to do our 45-15 for 12 exercises. One time through rest, okay? So we've got those 12-minute blocks of all of our exercises, and then we'll move on for 3 rounds. But first, let's just continue to warm up here. We're going to start with cat-cow, 30 seconds of cat-cow. So remember, your options if you're seated, you can have your hands on your thighs here, and curl and uncurl through the spine, or you can be on your palms here on your chair. Let's get ready in 3, 2, and 1, okay? Curling the spine here, not forcing, just kind of waking your spine up, just tapping it, you know, saying, hello, it's time to wake up. We're going to do an alternating knee raise and a hamstring curl mixed. 4 seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. So our next one is our knee, curl, okay? So that is our standing variation, or you could do this seated by staying closer to the edge of your chair so your toes have some room to tap back, okay? Just arms moving, just elbows and shoulders and hips and knees and ankles. All warmed up here. We've got 5 more seconds, and then we're going to go to 4 count cherry pickers with an arm circle. Time. So wide legs. We're going to reach out, middle, in, up, and then we're going to arm circle at the top, seated or standing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. A nice stretch through the back of the legs here. So stretching through the shoulders. 10 more seconds here. And then our last exercise is going to be our hip circles. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so for half the time, 15 seconds, we're going to go this way, and the other 15 the other way. Remember, if you're seated, you're kind of just moving that upper body around, okay? Here we go. So just pick a direction to start. Good. Let's switch in 2, 1. Switch sides, directions. Two, and 1. Okay, so that is our brief warm up here. Now we're going to get into our 12-minute blocks. Okay, 12-minute blocks, 12 exercises. I'll do first round seated, but I'll do demos standing too. And we're still going to kind of like warm up into this a little bit. So we're going to do a little bit of a coordination move. We're going to go back, back, forward, knee, back, back, forward, knee, back, back, forward, knee. Okay, so you can kind of chant that rhythm in your head, all right, to keep it going. And if you're seated, we're going to just tap back, knee, knee, just like our warm up, okay? So let's get ready. That's gonna be our first exercise, and then we're gonna go into squats after that, okay? So 45 seconds is going on the clock. Let's get ready and begin. We're doing that back, back, forward, knee. Back. And for the seated, it's a little bit different just because we're not actually moving on those feet. We have squats next. We're going to do not sit squats, but just regular squats. You can pick whether you want to go body weight or use a weight held at your chest, okay? I'll show you when we get there. 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. So you can either just do body weight right here, or you can hold a weight right here, okay? Feet are about shoulder width apart, just slightly flared out, and make sure your knees don't cave inwards. If you keep the knees pushed out, drive up. Back the weight. You're seated, alternating leg extension. Keep that foot flexed so you can really help engage that quadricep as you lengthen through the knee joint here. We're going to do a movement called ground to overhead next, okay? So you can actually do this with or without weight. You can just pretend you're picking something up off the ground, standing up, and placing it on a shelf above your head. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll show you the seated variation too. In 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to use a single dumbbell. You can do this without weight too, all right? I'm going to pick up, down. Okay, so you kind of get this like bicep curl in here too. Okay, so try to keep a nice neutral spine here. Driving up and then putting up. This is going to look pretty similar seated. We're going to pick it up off the ground, put it up. Okay, so think of pushing the hips back first, and then the knees follow as you're picking up that object off the floor. Okay, think about how this type of movement can translate to it as something that you do in life. You know, you're picking something up off the floor and putting it away on a shelf above you. Right? This is a functional movement pattern, right? Pattern of movements put together. 2 and 1. Okay, we're going into seal jacks next, so we can get rid of our weight if we're using it. Okay, remember you have this flexed foot variation, okay, which is a little bit slower, that gets deeper into your glute medius, or you can point the toe and you can go a little bit quicker, okay? Or you can do a couple regular jumps if you're advanced and you want to pepper those through, okay? I'm going to do seated. I'm going to do a fun one next called a squat and twist. It's kind of like a diagonal reach. And I find it feels really good through the hip flexors. Remember we discussed how sometimes the grapevine feels good through the hip flexors. This is another one that creates that nice stretching sensation. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we're going to do a squat, come up, pivot and reach. You see that? Squat, pivot and reach. 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 Okay, just feel a nice little stretch through here, okay? Here I'm going to do leg extension, reach, and we're on. Leg extension, okay? So I'm doing the seated variety. Hinge and row is next, one of our staples, right? The basics that we always put into our workouts, our squats, our hinge and row, lunging, excellent in the basics. And time on those. Okay, so hinge and route and grab the weights on either side here underneath those hips. Toes are facing forward. We're going to row and then drive up. Think of your glutes as pulling your upper body up. Okay, we do it from a seated position here. Let's get ready and begin. Drink water, take rest when you need it. The timer is just there to guide us, okay? But you listen to your individual needs. And really try to stay present. Think about the quality of your movement, okay? Grapevine's next. Three, two, and one. Okay, next we have our grapevine. Remember, that's our step, back, step, and tap. Step, back, step, and tap. You could always just take it to a lateral two-step if that's coordination-wise, that's easier. It's kind of what we're doing here in our seated variation. We're going to step for two, and then the other side for two. Go ahead and get creative with this. Make it yours, you know, throw those fun ones in there just to kind of give some active recovery between our exercises. Because next we have lunges. All right, lunges are next. Our seated variation for lunges is our alternating seated leg press. Excellent seated variation. 3, 2, and 1. Good. So we're gonna, you can either hold onto the back of your chair, the side of your chair, or just have the chair nearby in case you want to put your hand on there. Okay, remember that front leg is the leg we're predominantly working here, and we're driving through the heel. The heel should be connected on the ground. Let's get ready. I'm doing this seated, so I'm closer towards the edge of my chair so I can scoop my belly back a little bit, kind of round and C curve, okay, through my spine. So I feel my abdominals working by being in this position, and then I'm pressing that imaginary heavy boulder away, okay? Think of the quality of your repetitions. Make sure you're feeling the intended muscles engaged. Remember, we're focused on that front leg, right? And that would be for the glute and the quadricep. You should feel it the most. 5 more seconds here, and then we're going to go to a rear delt fly with internal and external rotation. So now, light weight or no weight, okay? We're doing our fly, internal, external together, okay? Working on those posture muscles. Here we go. Remember, if you're standing here, make sure you're like, think about what your lower back is doing here. If you feel like a lot of curvature, like you're kind of like your belly's being pushed forward, try to squeeze your glutes to help keep that all in good, your spine in good alignment there, okay? Next, we're going to go into our tricep kickbacks with the tap back. Okay, we've been doing this one for a while, so you should be pretty familiar with it. Got 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so remember, standing variation, just kind of ever so slightly leaning forward so that I can tap and tap as I kick back. Okay, so about 80% of my weight is in that front foot. The 20% I'm just kickstanding a little bit there so I have balance. Okay, here we go. Seated, you just kind of lengthen your legs here a little bit so you can still tap and get that flexion. Your knees do bother you. You can always just keep the feet still in the seated variation. The standing, your knees really aren't as much involved as your hip is, so you should be okay with that one. Go past halfway. Then we're going to go into a combination of 4 sumo squats with 4 side bends. So I'll show you. We've done this one other time. 5 more seconds here, though. 2, and 1. Okay, so we're going to count when we're lowered. So it's going to be nice and wide, heels outside the width. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and now stay down on 4. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get this isometric hold in that lowered position. 2, 3, 4. Keep it down on 4. I kind of messed my count up there. 2, 3, and 4. And seated is 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And time. Okay. Last one in this 12-minute block is our bicep curl and march. Okay, this really activates our core here, gets into our deepest core muscles, helps us work on balance too. Okay, so remember, hold it up there before you change. Okay, feel that stabilization. You might feel a little wiggle in the ankle as you're stabilizing. All right, pulling your core back. All right, seated, you can really feel this as well. You're not necessarily working on the balance, but you're still getting good core work here. Okay, think of that exhale as pulling that belly button back towards your spine. Okay, 5 more seconds here, and then we're going to take a brief rest. 2 and 1. Okay, 12 minutes done here. So you're going to take a brief rest, get a drink. I'm going to turn on my ceiling fan. I'm starting to get warm here. All right, and that is our series. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for the next 2 rounds. Okay, I am going to move to our standing variations this time. So remember, our first one is a body weight one, and it's a little bit of that coordination. It's our back, back, forward, knee, back, back, forward, knee. You choose how much intensity you want to put into this. Okay, you could be a little light on your feet and bounce with it, or you could take it slower. Okay, you pick. All right, you're in charge of how intense you want to make that first exercise. Okay, let's get ready. In 3, 2, and 1. And remember, if you're doing the seated, you're doing 2 tap backs and then 2 knee raises. Looks slightly different because we're not moving our body front and back when we're seated. I like to do a nice strong exhale when my fingertips hit my knee, so I can feel that crunch, that abdominal crunch. And that exhale helps contract the muscles more. 10 more seconds here. 5, 2, and 1. Okay, squats. All right, so regular squats here, with or without weight. Okay, you're doing your alternating leg rivets. Remember, good squat pattern is about shoulder width apart, toes slightly flared out. Okay, here we go. Hips come back first, trying to keep that chest up higher than our hinge, driving up. Right, I'm really pressing through my heels to lift myself up. I'm thinking of engaging through my glutes. I'm thinking of engaging through my quads at that top end. Okay. How deep you are in your squats is going to look different person to person depending on our anatomy and our mobility. So just go through your range of motion and really focus on that mind-muscle connection. We have 5 more seconds here. Then we're going to go ground to overhead. And 1. Good. So ground to overhead. Okay. Feet are about shoulder width apart again. They can be more forward than turned out. Okay. And we kind of reach down, pick it up. You get like this like little bicep curl in there. Okay. Reach down, put it up. Okay, I'll show you from the side. I want you to take a look at my down position here. You see this? This is ideally what you want to make your back look like. You want your hips pushed back. Okay. You see, I'm relatively straight through this part right here, and the angle comes right here. Okay. You can use one weight, two weights, or no weight here. It looks the same seated for the most part. 2 and 1. Okay, seal jacks. We're gonna put it down. Remember, you have those different options. You can go a little quicker with the toe tap here. That's going to get the heart working more. You can slow it down with the flexed foot here more. That's going to get the glute med more. And if you're advanced, you can do some jumping ones here. That's good for our bone density, right? So you pick which variation you like. Maybe a combination of all three of them if you want. Again, this is your hour to do you. You've been in your body long enough to know what's, appropriate for it and what's not. So, use that good judgment that you have. Remember the seal jack, we're also getting our back muscles here. We're getting our posture muscles here by this in and this opening and closing of the arms here. And time. Woo, squat and reach. Okay, so again, heels are about shoulder width apart, toes slightly out, regular squat, and then we're going to come up and twist and pivot. Okay, back down. You're seated. Remember, you're doing the alternating leg extension and then a reach. Then you're going to do another alternating leg extension and then reach on the other side. Working on thoracic mobility, obliques. Still getting our squat. Got lots of squats today. It's a squat day. Five more seconds. 2. Time on that one. Okay, hinge and row. Okay, hinge and row. So remember, squats get our glutes and more of the quadriceps. Our hinge also get our glutes, but they get more of the hamstrings. Okay, so the difference is in the hinge. You're still pushing the hips back, but your gaze is facing the floor. Versus when you're squatting, you're still trying to keep your chest up a little higher, so your gaze is forward. Working the back side of the body, in both the hamstrings and the glutes, and then also the lats. About 10 more seconds here, and then we're going to grapevine. And time on those. Grapevine is next, okay? Or you can do a lateral two-step if the coordination feels off, or you can be, and you're seated, which is a lateral tap each side, 2 lateral taps each direction. Here we go. This is kind of like our rebound exercise. You can have fun with it. Let all the muscle work we just did sink in, because we're going right back to it next with lunges, okay? Ten more seconds here. 3, 2, and time. Good. Okay. Moving on to lunges, alternating, or a alternating seated leg press. You choose how you want the chair in front of you, next to you, touching it, not touching it, okay? All right, so remember, it's you're stepping back, you're lowering down, you're driving up, and you're coming back to home here, okay? Keeping that width between the left and the right foot, okay, for balance and stability, and so that you can work the muscles properly in the leg. If you're focused too much on the balance, it's harder to focus on the muscle contraction in the front leg that we're trying to develop, okay? Ten more seconds. Oops. It's a good example of me moving my chair there for a second. 2 and 1. Rear delt fly with internal and external rotation, okay? Seated or standing, all right, pulling back, internal and external, okay? Very lightweight or no weight here, okay? I'm just using a 1 pound here. Now remember, if you're standing, to check in with your lower back. Make sure it's not like excessively, curving forward, all right? And if you feel that it's doing that, squeeze your glutes. That's gonna help protect that area from doing that. Feel any discomfort in your neck, you can always shake your arms out for a second. If you're using weight, you can get rid of the weight. About 5 more seconds here. And we're going into our tricep kick back and tap back. Time, okay? Remember, if you're seated for this next one, you're going to be closer to the front of your chair so that your feet have room to tap back, in terms of room to tap back, okay? Otherwise, slight hinge forward, and we're going to tap. Really thinking of engaging those triceps when I'm in that lengthened position, when the arms are long, the elbow is straight, squeeze. Remember, about 80% of the weight is in my front foot, about 20 in the back. It's like a kickstand. It's a way to indirectly work on balance. On top of it, we are actually strengthening the glute, okay, by tapping back and lengthening through the hip flexor. 2 and 1, okay. 4 sumo squats with 4 alternating side bends. If it's too much to do the side bends in this isometric hold, you can just come up and do the side bends, okay? And remember, it's 4 lateral taps if you're seated. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hold down here, reach 1, 2, 3, 4. Drive it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down. 1, 2, 3. Whew. And 4. Start to feel that burn, that isometric burn through the legs. Last one here. Bicep curl and march. Okay. All right. Let's get ready and begin. All right. Pay attention to how your body responds to this. Do you feel as you exhale? Are you able to feel your abdomen pull back? The more we can feel that, the stronger our core is getting. Okay, so don't feel discouraged if you're not necessarily feeling it. It's just consistency, okay? Two and 1. Okay, let's get a drink. We're going to do that one more time here. Starting to feel that accumulated heat, like I'm starting to feel warmer each round here. So back to the top, we're going to the back, forward knee, or we're doing 2 tap backs, 2 knee raises if you're seated, okay? So let's go ahead and get ready. Top of round 3. All right, 45 seconds. Let's get ready and begin. It's back, forward. You can pick your intensity here, okay? You could be a little lighter on your feet, kind of bouncing on your toes if you're advanced, okay? You can slow it down and be completely on your foot to make sure you're, got good stability. And also if you're working on that coordination. Five more seconds. And time. Okay, squats, goblet squats. All right. Hold your weight, heels are about shoulder width apart, feet are slightly flared outwards so that the knees stay in the direction of the toes. Okay, we don't want them to cave. So here we go. We're gonna lower down, drive it up. Lower down, drive it up. Go through your range of motion. Really focusing on that glute squeeze and quadriceps squeeze at the top as we're lifting, and squeeze. 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Okay, all done with those. Ground to overhead, okay? No dumbbells, 1 dumbbell or 2 dumbbell. Okay, feet are shoulder width apart, but toes are forward now. Okay, it's a little bit different because we're actually doing our hinge. Do you see this? How neutral my spine is here? This is actually our hinge. So hopefully you feel the difference from the squat because your gaze isn't forward now when you're in that bottom end. You're more looking towards the floor. You're trying to create that neutral spine. And you do that by pushing the hips back first. Right? Lead with the hips going back versus the knees going down. 10 more seconds here. Woo. 5, 2, and 1. Okay, seal jacks are next. Okay, seal jacks, seated or standing. All right, remember your alternative, your variations. You can go a little quicker with the tap, a little slower with the flex, or you can add some regular in there. Okay, and seated, you're doing the lateral taps. Remember, we're not only working through the hips, we're working the rear delts and back muscles here. Good for posture. We're opening the chest up here. 15 seconds. Feeling it. Round 3, I'm feeling everything now. 5 more seconds. 2, and time. Okay, shake that out. Squat and reach is next, okay? So back to shoulder width apart, toes slightly flared out. Chest is going to stay a little higher. We still start through the hips. You see that? It's still the same, right? We just keep the chest a little bit higher. Squat, pivot and reach. Squat. Feel that stretch through the hip flexor and the side body, around the rib cage. Rotational movements. Think of even simple tasks that, if we're not doing it frequently in our daily activities, it becomes harder to do. So even things like over time putting a seatbelt on can become harder to do if you're not doing a lot of rotational movements in your daily activities. 2, and 1. Okay. So next we have hinge and row. Okay. Hinge and row. So feet are underneath the hips, toes are forward, whether you're seated or standing. Right. We're going to hinge, nice neutral spine, row it, squeeze the glutes to come up. Remember, the hinge is your glutes and hamstrings, and the squats are your glutes and the quadriceps. And the positioning of the trunk is a big portion of the difference, and the positioning of the knees. When you're hinging, my shins always stay vertical and the angle comes through my thigh. Okay. When you're squatting, the shin is no longer vertical. It kind of creates like a mini triangle at the knee. And time. Good. All right. We're going to rebound here with our grapevine. Okay. Get your drinks. I'm sweating round 3. That accumulated work starts to show here. So here we go. Grapevine. Getting lots of lateral movements, lots of rotational movements. Even with the grapevine, you get this rotation in the back of the leg. And lots of forward and back movements. Like next we're doing lunges. 10 more seconds here. 5, 2, and 1. Excellent. Whew. Lunges are next, guys. Alternating lunges or alternating seated leg press, okay? You pick what feels appropriate for you. And remember, quality over quantity, okay? Here we go. I'm going to step it back, lower down, drive it up, return. Making sure that front heel remains in contact with the floor, okay? Remember the importance of working our limbs one at a time to help correct imbalances. Our stronger side is not able to help our weaker side when we do them individually. So that's the purpose of single limb exercises. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Rear delt fly with internal and external rotation. No weight or very lightweight. I have 1 pound here, okay? Seated or standing. And here we go. We're going to pull it back, lower down, bring it back up, and then bring it in. Strong back is super important for good posture. Plus, we have a lot of larger muscle groups in the upper body in the back. And the stronger we make those larger muscle groups, the more metabolic we become, burning more calories even when we're just sleeping or sitting and resting. 2, and 1. Good. All right. Next, we have our tricep kickbacks and tap backs. I'm going to go back to my heavier weight here, which is, for me, these are 2 pound weights. All right. So we're just leaning forward ever so slightly. Remember, we have about 80% of our weight in that front leg. And we're really engaging the triceps and the glutes actually in that lengthened state. So you can pause here for a second and say, am I engaged through my triceps and that glute on the leg that's extended back? Squeeze, squeeze. And you can even, if you find you're having a problem with your balance, you see how I'm slightly going out in a diagonal here? That's going to give you a better center of gravity because it's a wider base of support. So you can always do that. 3, 2, and 1. Good. 4 sumo squats with our alternating side bends, or 4 lateral taps and alternating side bends for 4. Nice and wide. Heels are outside the width of the shoulder. Toes are out. Pretty good here. We're going to lower down 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's come back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you feel a little burn through those thighs. I know I am. 2, 3, 4. Back down. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, let's finish it off. And 4. Felt those. Okay, last one, guys. Bicep curl and march here. All right, bicep curl and march. In 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Curl it up. See if you can feel your abdomen vacuum as you exhale. And you feel your belly button pulling backwards towards your spine. Your deepest core muscles, your transverse abdominals. More seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, guys. Got through our workout today. We're going to take a second to get a drink, and then we will do some stretching to cool down. Okay, so let's start with a forward fold over our chair here, okay? Creating that 90-degree hip bend through the hips, all right? You can kind of sway your hips to one side, feel how that stretch maybe lengthens through one side of your body there, and then gently sway to the other. Feel how it lengthens to the other. Let's do that one more time on each side. Back to center and just hold. And then very slowly and gently walk yourself up. Let's go ahead into our neck and trap stretch here. Gently pulling and pressing. And you can go ahead and play with the angle of your chin and kind of move around to see where you feel the stretch the best. Remember, the idea of the stretch is not to force it into submission here. You're just feeling the sensation and then like trying to relax your muscles and trying to let it like just, you know what I mean? Let everything like loosen up. Because we're not trying to tense anything up. We're trying to do the opposite. Deep breath. And then come back to center. Same thing other side. Press. And play around with that chin angle to see where you feel it best. Once you find a good position, just try to really be conscious of relaxing everything. All right? Is your jaw tense? Relax it. Is your arm tense? Relax it. Just try to relax it. Excellent. All right, let's come out that. Let's go ahead and do our chest stretch. And we got our forearms here by taking our palms, bringing them to the small of our back, okay? Pretending like our elbows can touch one another, pulling them back, and just feeling this nice sensation through the front of the chest and shoulders. You can put your head wherever you feel comfortable, okay? Again, you know, you're not trying to force, you're not trying to push your palms into your back to like make the stretch even more intense in the front. You're just finding sensation, feel sensation, and then relax into it. Okay? It should feel like calming more than like forceful. And then let's release that. Let's do some wrist rolls here. Open and close the hands. You can take your pinky to your thumb and then your ring finger and then your middle finger, index, just kind of, and then out again. Okay, and now let's work on the legs here. Let's get our hamstring by either elevating it onto your chair, a step. You can even do it just from the floor here, like this, or from your chair like that as well. Okay, so you pick what variation is good. We're trying to feel a little bit of sensation through the back here of the leg. And from there, let's bring it up and let's work on that ankle. On that same leg we were just stretching, let's flex and point for 5 through the ankle. And then circle 5 each direction. Good. And then same thing other side. You can do your seated stretch like this. You can do it standing like this. Okay. You can lift it up onto an elevated surface. It all depends on your flexibility here. Okay. And your comfort level, your balance. Just feeling that sensation. Again, remember, really practice on not forcing your body into submission here, right? The way you actually kind of submit your body is allowing it to relax, right? I remember there were years when I would try yoga and I was just trying so hard to make it stretch further. And it was like the opposite of what, when you think about it, it's the opposite of what you're trying to do, you know? Good. Let's come out with that. Same thing. Flex and point for 5 through the ankle. And then circle. Good. One more stretch here. We're going to do a thoracic stretch here. Okay, we did some rotational stuff today. So we're just going to hold. We did a lot of movement through rotation. Now we're going to take the opportunity to just hold and rest in it here. So I like to always start with that arc over. So my hands start on one side. Inhale and then exhale to the other side, creating that twist through the thoracic spine, trunk area, looking towards your back shoulder, you know, and not everyone's going to be able to look that far, just going through your range. And again, remember, finding that place of sensation without it being like forced. Okay, something that you feel like you could hang out in this position where you still feel the lengthening happening, but it's not like overwhelming the whole. It's actually really good for your central nervous system too, to help calm you down. You know, if you tend to have get anxious or anything like that, let's go ahead and arc over to the other side. Trying to be mindful in your stretches like this, where you're just trying to relax everything. You know, it's like I like to scan from the top of my head. You know, is my jaw relaxed? I hold a lot of tension in my jaw, so I have to make sure that's relaxed. You know, take a deep breath. Am I letting my shoulders relax? You know, am I letting my feet relax? I make sure everything is just trying to relax. I'm just breathing comfortably into where my body wants to be. There's no right or wrong place. That's the thing. It's just where your body is. And then go ahead and bring it to center. Okay. We're going to inhale. Palms together. Exhale. Bring them to heart. One more big inhale. And exhale. All right, guys. Thanks for coming for another Tuesday together. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for being so consistent. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, let me know.
Thanks so much, Coach. I love those ankle rolls at the end. They were so yummy. So we we want to enable everybody to unmute. Maureen already said thank you. Angela had to leave slightly early, but said thank you. We're excited that other people are still here. If you have any questions, now's the time.
Thank you very much. It was great.
Thank you. Thanks. Nice to hear from you.
Thanks so much, Coach Elaine.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. Good to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate you always showing up. So